Hello, good evening, and a good Friday to one and all. Welcome today. I'm Chris Hughes. For you guys coming to channel for the first time, I'm from Rebound Basketball Blog. We cover the NBL Division One and all things British basketball. So today's show, as expected, the NBL announced their awards for the men's D1, and there was a lot to talk about. So today's show, I'll talk about who the winners were, and also this week I posted a question to my followers on Instagram to ask them who they thought should drop the award. So I've taken a few of their answers and I'll break that down for you this evening. I say if you're coming to the show for the first time, the lovely guys at Upstreamedia have been bringing daily basketball shows to you all. If you haven't watched them, check them out. This week I've been very busy. I've had quite a few guests on the show. Yesterday's show was really good. We had an anxious Spinners head coach on discussing the season. Apologies. They had a great season. They were the Division 3 North champions. They played really well, and their captain was awarded in their the NBL Div 3 Team of the Year. So, on to the topic of the NBL Div 1 Team of the Year and all the awards that accompanied it today. So first up, was very little surprise, was the Coach of the Year award. We now have two-time Coach of the Year, Matt Guyman, who's won it again this year. It was pretty hard to look past anyone other than Matt and the job the whole coaching side do at Team Soho Kestrels, as they were unbeaten. They're back-to-back league champions, back-to-back finals to the National Cup, winning it this year. They unfortunately lost last season to Loughborough. Also, they were the first non-BBL team to make the BBL Trophy final, going all the way into overtime. So, he definitely deserves that award alongside all the great people at Kestrels behind the scenes to put on the squad and also Coach Meet Treat to get them into the champs they are today. So, as I said, this show will be breaking down first the Team of the Year, MVP, and then also look at maybe some other options who might have just missed out. And I think it's great to promote them because at the end of the year, their efforts shouldn't be overlooked, even if maybe they weren't the leads top five. They probably weren't too far off, or quite a lot of people's final five themselves. So we'll start off with the MVP from the season. That is Ian Smith, floor general. Listeners and watchers to the show will be aware, but Ian Smith has made an amazing improvement in three-point shooting. He started 2019 on the whole with a three-point percentage of 25.5, more than doubled that since turn of the year, and in 2020 his three-point percentage was up to an amazing 53.1, more than doubling his 2019 return. He's also got two triple-doubles and was made NBL player of the week. So he's obviously done really well this season, and he is definitely a reason why the Kestrel's done so well. The floor general, making so many plays happen, including the play that got the Kestrels into overtime in that BBL Trophy final to allow Trayvon White with that last second dunk. I say he's had a great rookie year for the Kestrels, and be amazing to see what happens for next year. We also had Travis Charles, who, like his coach, made the shortlist for Player of the Year. Obviously, Matt got Coach of the Year for a second time in a row. He was also two-time NBL Player of the Week, so definitely played well. Last season, he took the league by storm with an amazing 62 field goal percentage and matched that again, which is amazing because Kestrels, for anything, probably got more shooters than they had last season. So to still have the same opportunities, the same looks, and the same return is amazing. And he averaged just shy of a double-double with 22 points and just over 9.7 rebounds averaging. He was one of the many players that sort of showed upturn form as the season went on, and it would be amazing to see what he done in playoff season. In his last 5 games of the season, he averaged 72 field goal percentage, and in those 5 games, he posted his season high twice of 31 points. So definitely a player who should have been in team of the year, and from a Teshel's perspective, was their most efficient player. And I say, goes slightly off topic a bit. We've done a lot of leaderboards this season, so check them out if you want to. Travis, one of those players that actually did better in the efficiency per minute, because the leaderboards, they look at the stats they do over the total or per game, and in the total, obviously Tesh has played less games, so they have played better in the games they've done to equal their peers. And the next player, who's also a player who's now two-time player of the year, it is Thames Valley Cavaliers' Hakeem Sia. The man's had an amazing year, and in probably the showcase game, which I had the honour of commentating on at Upstreamedia College, he posted an amazing 6 blocks. He made a bit of a blocked party there for his side, but they were unfortunate losers and also runners-up to the Testrals in that game, and also as the NBL season. And he's an amazing player and definitely big part of their success. So many double-doubles, definitely dominant inside that, under the paint, tough competitor, quite a lot of players who interact with us on Instagram with their team. All of them said he was a player, they thought he was very strong, tough to play against. Season high was amazing, 37 points for Star Trailblazers in a double-double performance. So that's one player. That's Mike Williams. Sorry. So go back to Hakeem Sia. I say it's the league's most highest efficient player and also the average efficient player. And I say posted a lot of double-doubles. There was also 2 more players. Another Thames Valley Cavaliers player, Taylor Johnson. He was the heartbeat of that team. When they needed him most, he was on form. And as I mentioned, I commentated on 2 Thames Valley Cavaliers games. In both games, he was very pivotal for his side. Amazing player, threat at 2 and 3 point range. So definitely, and one of the exciting players to watch in his second season in the NBL. And I say last year he was with Leicester Warriors. Unfortunately, he had a great season there, but he wasn't picked in their team of the year. Later on, I'll talk about another Leicester Warriors player who missed the cut again. I mean, not him again, but the Warriors had a player who, again, could have possibly been in the team of the year, but missed out, maybe to their final position. Maybe say what happened last season with Taylor not getting that top 5 player team of the year. So that's 3 of them. We've got one more, and this one's a great player. Fortunately, I skewed the stats of Hakeem's. So I'm talking about Mike Williams Jr., Rutgers alumni, came to Hamel Storm, missed the first 2 or 3 games. So in quite a lot of stats, he went under the radar because, like a lot of Kestrel's players, he only played a few games less than his peers. So if you just look at the average leaderboards or the efficiency board, he doesn't post as high, but doesn't mean he had a great season. He just played less games, but was amazing. He in one of the leaderboards we did for points per minute, he tied TJ Henson as the leader for points per minute. And was an amazing player. And I said, I actually mixed stats up earlier, but he did a season high 37 points for Star Trailblazers and a 37-10 double-double. And this man's a threat, not like Taylor's, not just a threat from 3-point range, but also 2-point range. And in that game versus Derby, he posted 8 threes from 15 attempts, which is amazing, and attributed to a season high of 37. But it seemed like in big games, he was a key part of Hebble's offensive plays. And in the game versus Reading, he matched that 8 3 points made with another 8 from 9 shots. So very efficient, very accurate with his shooting, and definitely a player that Hemmel did well to acquire. Tomorrow, actually, I've got Mike Williams Jr. on the show, so it'll be great to chat about him. I'm sure when I ask him about his highlights, that game will probably be one of them. But there was a lot of games he played well, and he deserves his place in the top five. So next bit, I'll move on to some players who could have been part of our top five. That's not to say the top five did deserve to be there. It's just that in a league where there was so much talent this year, it seems a shame for us to only be talking about five players who deserve to be in the team of the year. I feel I'd probably name two or three teams that, given any day, could be first team players or to be second team, but still amazingly talented players. Sorry, excuse me one second. So there was a lot of players who missed the cut. I had people messaging us saying, what about a solo all five? People say that, what about Derby? And then also there was a few rookie names thrown in. So first, I'll talk about maybe why people thought this was solo five. Sounds a bit selfish to say, but actually, if we consider the fact they're the first team to be unbeaten for over a decade, they're the first non-BBL club to make it to the final. They were unbeaten pretty much throughout that run. They only lost in overtime, and the other loss season was in the Bristol Flyers game, the second leg. But considering they've got up, I think it was like 30 points or so advantage, A, do we call it a loss because they actually advanced, and B, psychologically, it's probably really hard to motivate yourself to compete when you've got such a big margin and with a lot of games having to be reshuffled due to the extra days playing the tournament. But the players on their own merit could actually determine they should be in that team themselves. So obviously the whole squad did really well. I didn't want to be singling out players. I will be looking at a few whose performances weren't too far off or actually equalled some of the players in the top five. So first of all, let's talk about Brendan Okawankwo. He joined from South Coast rivals Worthing. It's no coincidence in my opinion, but in the last two seasons he's either been in a team that's tied for first or won the championship. And obviously from his time with Worthing, he's helped the team win a lot of trophies and also got to play a final last year. He was also he averaged a personal NBL high this season in 3-point shooting with his 3-point percentage of about 43, which is the highest it's been in the NBL. So that was amazing. He also had he felt like he wasn't being guarded or people weren't reading the stat well, but I think it shows how well he played for him to be achieving those sort of stats and numbers. He also was the National Cup MVP this season, so that was an amazing feat. He was also in terms of his team, Coach Diamond gave him the third amount of average minutes. Not bad for a new signing. So he is one player maybe quite a few people think, oh, why not start in five Kestrels? Because yes, we got Ian Smith and Travis Charles who done it, but the whole team got that team over the line in many games. Another one who quite a few people were quite surprised or messaged say, oh, he should be in it, was Elliot Sentence. So the former GBM 20 star, a key part of Kestrels, and was posting ridiculously high field goal percentage points, 3-point shooting. He was injured for a little bit, it came back, and I think that 3 or 4 games either side of his injury probably he still played well in those 3 games, but actually his stats were a little bit lower. Maybe when the guys who had decided 5-5, maybe that worked against him. But in this season, been amazing for them. He's in terms of his team, he was the third most efficient player behind the guys who got picked in the final 5. But if you consider that as a total efficiency, and if that's a player who's missed 3 games, imagine what his efficiency would be if he plays 3 games. He probably would have passed his teammates. His also stats were impressive. He averaged just over 17 points, 6.9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and I say he was a hot shooter with 55.4 field goal percentage and a impressive 46.2 3-point percentage. He would not look out of place in this 5. And again, I don't want to come across that I'm not promoted top 5. I just feel the league missed a trick and just promoted 5 players because there's so many players that performed really well this season who deserve recognition. So that's why I thought today I'll just talk about them. Uh, Outside those two is, I say, as a team performance from team so that Kestrel, the guys definitely put the team in team so close this year. Also, just going back to Elliot, obviously with his injury, he probably had less minutes coming in. I mean, obviously didn't play as everyone else. And in one of our leaderboards, we did the points per minutes. Elliot was tied for second place in points per minute, so definitely good company. And the guys around him were either guys I mentioned a bit or guys who made the final, the team of the year. So he did very well. It's not to say, but the players outside the team of the year did play well. It's just that there was a lot of quality this year. Again, it wasn't just those 4 names that made Kestrel play so well. There was other players like Elliot Dads, Luke Sunborough, whose stats I'm impressed. Actually, some bits I'm most impressed about. The things you can't quantify the stats. Like Elliot Dads was so many fouls from doing his part of standards ground, taking off the team. Luke was very exciting with his dunks and post play. Very highlightable player. But you've got other players from the bench like Jonathan Lashley, who actually for someone off the bench was in our average efficiency league probably one of the better players in the league. So when he was doing bits, he played well. And same with all the others like Chris Scarlett, and definitely a good team. And I fully understand why some people would say maybe the Kestrel's 5 deserve some recognition. The next one I'll talk about is Derby Trailblazers. So when you look at the team here, it was primarily made of teams that were, for the major part, top 3 in the NBL. But Derby Trailblazers was one of the top teams in 2020. So I talked about in different episodes. You can always listen back to all the episodes that Upstreamedia do. They're all a great viewing. They've got lots of different shows on. But so the Derby Trailblazers, they were really hard to beat in 2020 and losing it 2 or 3 times in all competitions. So definitely played well. I mean, they've got a wealth of players on their team who really helped their cause. If that's the former NBL MVP Malcolm Smith or Trey Rilford, or so many youngsters. They had Charlie Brown, who played his last season for the academy team, stepped up and was actually one of the league's most for average assists per game, also average assists per minute. So he was very efficient on the team. And any of those players could have made the final 5, especially Malcolm Smith with his points. He was one of their leaders. Also, players who got mentioned was TJ Henderson. So I mentioned earlier, but last season was quite a similar story of a standout Leicester player not getting the recognition maybe. But this season, getting it with a bigger club. But one player that was really impressive this season, impressed quite a lot of people, a lot of players have mentioned this player's name. Not as say players didn't get recognition, but they thought actually he was probably one of the toughest players that played us. And it was TJ Henderson. A 40-point season high. Most players in the league would be more than happy if that season high. One of the highlightable players outside the league. Like quite a lot of players I mentioned in the team of the year, were a threat from 2-point range and 3-point range. Led his team and probably was one of the major reasons why they were almost a playoff team again. Getting that just missing out on that 8th seed which they got last season. And his averages would definitely not look out of place compared to his peers. He averaged 27 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 0.2 blocks. And amazing season for him in his first year in the NBL 1, and I'm sure he'll be going on to bigger and greater things. But he is one of many players I thought, I could have seen a Final 5 team of the year with his name in it. But it's not to say the other guys didn't deserve it. It's just there's a lot of talent this year, and I think it would have been really good to see maybe a third or a second team added to the mix as well, because as I mentioned, there's so many players, even just on 1 or 2 teams' rosters. You know, I can go back to the top 3. We can look at Martin Muchamore, he played well, Blaine Freckleton, or if Hemel Storm, Greg Polian. Uh, there was a lot of calls early season to make Lee Hodges before he left the team here because he's got so many double doubles and was real help for his side. And then it's also there's more than just three teams in the NBL. There's so many other talents, but probably one that comes to mind, a bit ahead of the rest maybe. Cameron Hildreth, maybe not a top 5 talent team here, but by no means is a very, very talented youngster who some may consider already a generational talent for British basketball. So it'd be great to see how he gets on. He played really well this season, not only for Worthing, but he also played for Barking Abbey abroad in the Adidas Next Generation tournament. In that tournament, he was named in the final 5. That's quite a big achievement, but I tournament for a lot of top talent going around in Europe. And he made top 10 in most respects. I'd say a bit brief. I realised I talked quite fast at you guys and give you a little bit to catch up. So a bit more about Cameron Hildreth. He was one of the star players from Worthing. When I was looking at the stats, I sort of thought, so often when I look at stats on social media from the NBA, and they're like, oh, this player's average. No players have. When they compare a really good player, they compare it to like of Jordan, Kobe, and say only Jordan, Kobe have averaged say 20 plus points, 9 plus rebounds, 6 plus assists. So I was looking at some stats, and I noticed that Cameron Hill's average per season of 20 points, around 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, points, and lots of really good return on the whole over all those common stats. And actually, it turned out that no player got a better average than a 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 0.7 blocks. So it was an amazing return, someone who can do a bit of everything for your team. There's no one around who's done that. So actually, there's definitely an argument he could have been in team of the year, or maybe just definitely the second or third team of the year. I say the GB under 18 stars will be a one to watch, and say a lot of people already circling his name as a generational talent. He's either there or just thereabouts, but definitely one for the future and also to stay, and a big part of Worthing's success. Sort of brought a lot of energy, especially massive threat and transition against teams, especially in the game with the leaders for NBL Live. He was the most fouled player, so that kind of tells you a lot. When they're playing a big game, it's the most fouled, and it tells you that the other team are like, gosh, you've got to stop that man. He's the one to watch. So he's done amazingly well. And I say it's been a great season, and that's what I love about awards season. It just sort of highlights the success of the season, and I'd love to see maybe a second or third team by the NBL, because you can look at it and go, yeah, I agree with those 5, but they've done really well. But you go, oh, I wish that player got one, or I wish that player got in. But then if you do a second or third team as well, but you're like, actually, okay, if they're there or thereabouts, I'm happy with that. So that's great, and that's what I want to talk to you about today, and we've discussed that. So tomorrow I've got a great guest on. I've got Hemel Storm's Mike Williams Jr., and we'll discuss all things Hemel Storm. And he'll also take part of our quiz, how well do you know your club? So I ask him some stat-related questions in a basketball-esque competition where you can either go for an easy 2-point question or a 3-point question if he wants a harder question. We've had so many great guests on the show. Please check it out. Give it a listen if you haven't. We had like Chuck Dewar from Essex Hearts Leopards. We've had Taylor Johnson, who, as you just heard, made the team of the season with his great efforts at Tennessee Cavaliers. We've had Lancashire Spinners head coach, so that was a great discussion on the ins and outs of being a head coach in the NBL. We sort of discussed recruitment for next season, plans whether there'd be a D2 club, also the structuring, because this was a new structure to lead where it was regionalised for D2, which is so much more. And I've had so many other guests. I've been great. Martin Gale from Leicester Warriors, and try to think, I'm sure it's not everyone, but I say check all those videos out. They're good to watch. And He also got some guys to on talk about British wheelchair basketball. Rupert's got a few shows with his friends talk about grassroots coaching. It's all been very informative to help get us through this difficult time. Next week I'll have some guests on. I'm not sure who yet, but we'll find out in a short time. And also at the moment with Rebound, I'm doing the People's Choice Awards. So it's kind of a way of looking at the achievements of players, but in a way that's not too subjective, but it's also underlined by stats. So we're doing like a knockout, it's a bit like a World Cup, where I made a 32-man shortlist. There were players who maybe just missed out, but I felt maybe the stronger players are definitely the stronger players, and we'll see how everyone finishes. So how it works is that it's made up 50% of people voting. So we started off with a group stage, and top two went through, and then into another group stage, and now into semi-finals. So at the end of the voting aspect, I'll look at the total votes of each player, and then it can be a little bit complicated, but the idea is that at the end of the process, we'll have someone who's most voted for and also most efficient as the leader. It may not be the case, so say, depending on how each player performed in the people's vote, they will get a match score 32 for the best, or 1 if they got the least amount of votes in the whole process. Same with the average efficiency. The most efficient player will get a score of 32 and the least rate of 1. And then I'll combine the score, and whoever has the highest score will be the people's choice. So the idea is that it's combined of who's the most efficient but also the most voted for. And then that will be the person's choice. And it's a really good way, because last year's what we did a feature on it, and it's a great way of just giving you a little bit of information about all the 32 players, what they've done this season, and promotes them and their teams. So I think that's almost everything for guys. And I say, if you be watching these Upstreamedia videos and like them, please obviously press that big red subscribe button, and obviously leave any comments if you any feedback or anything you'd like myself or any guys coming on to cover. And I say to follow myself on Rebound on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. On Twitter, you can find me at Rebound __, and on Facebook and Instagram it's at Rebound MBL, and we've got a WordPress website which we promote. I say, if you want to message us about what features you want us to cover, feel free. I've got a lot of free time at the moment, as I'm sure you guys are, and I want to make sure we give you great content. That's everything. Have a great Good Friday and a lovely Easter weekend. Take care, stay safe, and have a lovely evening. Bye now.